Welcome to the Thin Blue Line Outdoors Podcast.
This pig came bottling.
Just ended up puking last night. It sucked.
Whoa! Ah! We gut it, we wrap it in tinfoil, throw it over the fire.
All right, everyone, it's the Thin Blue Line Outdoors Podcast, episode 80. I'm here with John. John is our newest team member to the Thin Blue Line Outdoors. John reached out to me a little over a year ago. Does that sound right? I think.
Yeah.
Yep. At that time, John had his own YouTube channel, and obviously, us being fellow first responders, we connected through hunting and the life. And one thing led to another. John's on the team now. I'm excited. We get to do our first hunting fishing thing together this summer. Going to do some salmon fishing, so looking forward to that. But I'm going to let John take it from here and kind of introduce himself.
So I'm John Martini. I've been first responder for 14 years. First 9 years were in Montana, Western Montana, and last 5 years, August will be 5 years here in Southern Wisconsin. Been hunting since I was old enough to hunt, basically in Pennsylvania, and then that and just wanting to live out west kind of drove me to move to Montana. So I applied out there, got hired in 2010, and then for family reasons, we decided to move here. I have family here, and then my wife has family in Pennsylvania and Vegas, actually.
You guys are all throughout the country, man.
We are. We're actually we're great aunt and uncle now.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Congrats.
Yeah, our nephew in Vegas just had a baby boy. I guess 2
Awesome.
months now. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So how much traveling do you guys do a year just to see everybody?
We haven't been to Pennsylvania in a little while. We're going to Vegas in, I think, late August, early September. So probably yearly. And then we have people in Montana that I try to get out there every year, and they're like family. So that kind of counts too. So every year.
Yeah. And so I know, obviously, I've spent quite a bit of time in Wisconsin. I have not actually got to hunt Wisconsin. I've always loved like the Northwoods vibe, done a few fishing trips and stuff up there. But what really intrigues me is the Montana lifestyle that you had. I have not been to Montana. I've been to Colorado and Wyoming. There's the two places I've done out west hunting for the most part. But I mean, so I guess number one, why Montana out of the western states when you went to go there? And then if you just want to tell me about some of your hunting experience in Montana, I'm trying to live through you because I love that out west stuff, man.
So when my wife and I were dating, we did a trip to Glacier National Park and kind of fell in love with Montana. And when I was 22, I did a road trip, a friend of mine, and I did a road trip to Montana, and we did Bozeman and then down through the Gallatin Gateway to Yellowstone. And I just kind of fell in love with the region. So when I was thinking about applying to agencies, I did a few things in Pennsylvania, and then an opening came up in Montana, and I applied, and 9 months later I was on the road. So that's kind of how we ended up out there. I don't have any regrets about living in Montana. I missed living in Montana. Miss being in Montana, but it's good to be here. The Midwest is all right too, for sure.
Yep.
So that's kind of how it started. And then, the hunting thing, when you watch these shows and you see these guys doing elk hunts and you think like, oh man, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get into these bulls and they're going to be screaming, and it's not like that.
Yeah, I figured out.
And not for the faint of heart. I learned that very early on. My first year, I didn't see many elk at all. Couldn't find them. When I did see them, that was like a harvest, because we just never got into them. Never heard bugling. But toward the end of the year, the last week, I finally shot a cow.
Okay.
And so that was like awesome.
Lost you for a second, John. Okay, I got you back. So was that with your bow or with your gun for the elk?
That was with my rifle. Was with the rifle. Yeah. Got close once that first season with the bow. We actually called a spike in but where I was at, you couldn't shoot spikes. And that was the closest elk I had that first year was that spike bull, and he was, I don't know, 20 or 30 yards. I mean, but the experience was pretty neat. He came in silent. You know, I look up and there's an elk standing there, and I mean, I really didn't know what I was doing for the first couple of years. It was a lot of trial and error.
Yep.
But then I started hunting central Montana, and I mean, I was hooked. You know, the Missouri River Breaks region. I'm sure you've read about it, seen shows on it and stuff, and became River Breaks. So I hunted there almost exclusively. It was kind of funny because my wife and I were talking. You know, when this came up with you guys, she was all about it. She's like, "Yeah, absolutely, you need to do this." And you know, what an opportunity. And you guys are a fun group of guys. I could tell that already.
We try to have fun.
I don't even know how to use Facebook, and you were like,
"Yep." No, you can cuss.
You're gonna.
Oh no, this is I'm not saying we're not family friendly, but there's definitely a lot of cussing. Which I know you haven't got to really meet him yet, but Ryan, the red coat, when he gets excited, so every time he shoots a deer, his first 3 things out of his mouth is the F word, and it's 3 times in a row. And I've tried to tell him, like, dude, I don't mind a little cussing, but like, I don't want the whole thing to be cussing. And he's like, I'll try to be better, lad, and he does the same thing every time.
Well, you know, I mean, a friend of mine out west said, if that stops happening, I'll quit hunting. You know, that excitement. I mean, maybe you choose a different word.
Yeah. And he always coughs too. That's the funny thing. It's like F word, and then like every time he gets excited. I don't know why.
That's funny. So yeah, I mean, I started hunting the breaks and got a few elk there, got some deer. Just when we were starting to learn the area we hunted, an opportunity from a guy I went through the academy with came up in Miles City. And so now that's kind of where we go when we go to Montana. It's so southeastern Montana is kind of where we hunt now.
Yeah, because you how many trips do you still make out there a year usually?
I try to go at least once a year. So the deer herd where we're at is pretty low. I think throughout Montana on average it was down 40-some%.
Okay.
Statewide, and we definitely noticed it. And a lot of, probably about 75% of the land we hunt is private.
Okay.
There's some public we hunt, but a lot of it's private, so we kind of treat it as like our deer herd, so to speak. And so last year we had my niece and nephew out there. My nephew's kill is on video, which was awesome. We walked miles and miles and miles, and then we're sitting in a truck, and this buck comes walking up this canyon. It's like
never fails. Yep.
But last year we kind of decided we need to take a break and let this herd recover. They had the drought a couple years ago. I remember my friend telling me that he was talking to old time ranchers, and they were telling him, you know, this drought is as bad, if not worse, than the late 80s when the Yellowstone fires hit. And so he was worried. You know, there was no grass, no hay. So it was really, really tough on the ranchers. And then, you know, if there's no grass for the cattle, there's no grass for the deer and elk. And elk seem to be a little more hardy in that with that than mule deer. So we decided last year that we're going to take 2 years off from deer hunting out there to give the. So
I keep losing you. We have a storm coming through here right now. So
yeah,
hopefully, is it?
We were watching the radar and it's like circling around us.
Yeah.
The skies are a little bit of thunder, but we haven't had like, you know, a lot of rain. It's just kind of spitting a little bit.
So I guess the city I work in, I guess they got hit earlier today. No damage or anything, just bad thunderstorm and a lot of rain. And it just, it missed us out my farm. I live about 20 minutes away from the city, and it missed us. But I don't know if we're gonna get hit by it now or not. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Supposed to go turkey hunting again in the morning. We'll see if that happens. But no, so the mule, and when we say deer population, talk about mule deer, right?
Yeah.
Yep. For the listeners at home, but so you still going to go out there and elk hunt? You think?
I'm gonna. So I drew an archery elk tag last year. I don't know if you watched that heartbreak.
Yeah. Yep.
God. And then I had that bull at 25 yards, and
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
He was a nice bull, and I don't know if he was bigger than the one I shot or which one.
Yep.
I wasn't really worried about that. I just for whatever reason I couldn't find my. Three of us watched the hit, and I said to my friend, I was like, I'm not shooting another one. That's my elk.
Yep. So what do you I guess what do you think went wrong with that hole with your bull you shot?
To this day I don't know. I know I hit him a little bit back, but not far enough back to be like concerning to where it would have been liver.
Yep.
We never had any dark red blood. Never did find the arrow, although that's not surprising on an elk.
Yeah.
I was finding where he was running through brush and there was just blood up and down like these little pine trees and stuff. So he's bleeding plenty hard. Good blood, bright red blood. Found a few bubbles. I don't know. I don't know if he ended up under a giant juniper bush and, we just couldn't find him.
Yep.
The blood trail stopped. It was really dry and there was a real big creek bottom. And from last blood, I looked and looked and looked and looked and never did find him. So I don't know if he ran a couple 100 yards and ended up, those things. It's so surprising because for how big of an animal they are, they will hide and crawl into a juniper bush and you'll never see them.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, I've walked within 15, 20 yards of cows and calves where, they'll just lay there under these juniper bushes and wait for you to walk by, or hope that you go another direction. But if you get close enough, they get up and run, kind of like whitetails, stuff. And I don't know if that's what happened, but like I said, the hit looked good. The shot felt great. It was, the arrow flew good. We all thought and even with it being slightly back, the two guys that I was with are like, no, that's a pretty good hit.
Yeah.
But we marked first blood. We went and had some dinner. We waited another 2 hours.
Man,
yeah.
I think it'll be plenty of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the frustrating part is I was like, it feels like I did everything right here, but there's no elk.
Dude, I love hunting, man, but that's the heartbreak of it.
That's the heartbreak. And I haven't lost many animals in my hunting career. 5 or 6, give or take.
Yep.
But over, 32 years of hunting, that's not that many, but
sucks every time though.
Or whitetail doe.
Yep.
Sucks. It's part of hunting, and eventually it happens to everybody. But
correct. Yep. If somebody says it hasn't happened to them, they're either brand new to it or they're a liar.
Yeah, it got me, and I just had to deal with it and go on. And I had that bull coming in, and we called him from probably half a mile away, if not more. It was a big open creek bottom. You could see him coming, and he just came in on a string.
So I've yet to get a chance to shoot an elk. The closest I've been was just on a cow, and it was just slightly too far. What's the adrenaline like when you see that big bull coming towards you, especially for bow hunting? What's that? You got to tell me how that feels like.
Well, so if it happens quick, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
On the second one that came in, I was like, oh man. And then I was like taking pictures of him as he's went around this big reservoir, and I'm snapping photos of him and stuff. And so I had a chance to do some like combat breathing, like some tactical breathing as he was walking in, and decided I'm gonna shoot him, not. And I decided not to. But it's pretty intense.
Mhm.
I mean, I would, you have a big buck coming into you, but the bull I shot was kind of funny because I went after another one prior to that, and we weren't seeing much. And I bugled. We had like 2 hours, hour and a half before dark, and I saw him coming from the opposite side of the canyon, so I went down to try to cut him off.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to the other side, he was at like 65 yards. And so I had, the camera set up, and I'm like in this juniper bush, and I'm watching him. And the line he was coming, I'm like, all right, he's going to be 30 yards in front of me.
Yep.
And as I'm watching him through juniper bushes, I saw like the telltale, they kind of do one of these where they pick their head up.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, I just got winded.
Yep.
I knew it right away.
Mm-hmm.
So didn't see him, grabbed my stuff, went back, and we were like, well, we got about 45 minutes left, but let's not burn anything. It's day 2.
Mm-hmm.
Let's sneak out of here. And so we start sneaking out, and I'm looking in one of the ranch fields, a neighboring farming. He had like equipment out there, and he was planting something similar to alfalfa.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, are they elk out there? What is that? And my friends are like, hey. They're like snapping their fingers.
Yeah.
And they're pointing. And I'm like, oh God, there's elk in front of me. Out standing there, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm busted. So I run over by kind of these like clay rock things, and we had the wind in our favor and the sun at our back.
Perfect.
And we started cow calling, and this bull came in on a room, and he gave me a good broadside shot. Never saw him again after the hit. I never saw him again. But that adrenaline rush was unreal because my friend was like, dude, what were you doing? I'm like, I was looking at the equipment. I mean, we're a half mile from the truck. Who thinks we're going to get hurt?
Yep.
So my mistake, walking out, especially out west.
Yeah.
So that was kind of
yeah, that's funny. Were you shooting a fixed blade or expandable on that?
I was shooting expandables.
Expandable, man. I would put that in your favor then.
Yeah, I was shooting Sever broadhead called.
Man, I'm surprised.
Yeah, and they were named. I think it was Outdoor Life or Field, whatever they were. Best broadhead for elk.
Yeah, they're good heads. I got several friends here that they shoot them for whitetail, and I haven't heard anything bad about them or anything.
No, the penetration, I can tell you, my draw length's 27.5, so I think my arrow's like 26.5.
Mm-hmm.
And they're wrapped. I have a wrap on just below the fletchings, and
yep.
I couldn't see much white.
Okay. Yep.
Really good penetration on them too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things.
Mm-hmm. Gotta ask, how tall are you, John?
5'10".
5'10". Okay, so that's like a identical draw length as me, except I'm a little shorter. That's why I gotta ask. I got short little arms myself, so like yeah, I have a 26.5 length draw. So yeah, I wish I could be one of those guys with the long arms with like 32 inches, just to get that whole bunch of power behind the shot.
Yeah,
but I'm not that guy.
Yeah, I kind of max my bow out, so I shoot 70 pounds.
Yep, same.
Keep myself in shape so I can keep shooting 70 pounds, especially I'm 44, so not old, but not young.
Yep.
But
I get that.
Yeah, so I kind of make sure I keep myself in shape to be able to pull and hold it. But with today's bows, I mean, you're
pretty easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what's not easy, and I won't go down the rabbit hole too much because I've talked about it in some other podcasts, but I'm just getting into the recurve game. And, I'm only shooting a 50-pound weight recurve. And that, man, only 50 pounds holding all that weight back, no let off. It's tough.
Yeah, I guess that's why you see guys draw back, they get their point, and boom, it goes.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. My uncle shot a little bit of recurve, and him and I were talking about it, and he asked me what I was doing, and I'm like, I pull back, and I use my broadhead or field tip to aim, and I let go, and I'm only I'm only drawing back for a couple seconds. It's not like, it's not like a compound where I'm ready holding it. See, my uncle, he's one. He just gets on it, and I forget how he's aiming, but he just, as soon as it gets to his anchor point, he just lets go. I'm like, I can't do that.
So that's like instinctive then?
Kind of. That's how he's shooting it. Yeah. He thinks I should start string walking, which is when they actually like you get the aim and you can walk your fingers up and down the string to get the aim point. I don't know about that. I know
level.
Yeah, I know right now with my setup, if it's within 15 yards, I need to aim like a foot below the animal with my field tip to hit the vitals. I think at 30 yards, which I will not shoot an animal at 30 yards with my recurve yet, but my recurve is like dead on at 30. So I know I can put that field tip right on it. Now at 30 yards, usually I screw it up, and so that's why I'm like, I'm like 20 and in right now. We'll see how it goes. I think I'm going to take it bear hunting, and then I got deer season. I might try to shoot something with it, but I think for the most part, stick with the compound.
Yeah. That's kind of. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. Like I shot that hog with it earlier this year, and I got the bow for free. It'd be my wife's grandpa just gave it to me. Gave it to me years ago, and it was because it was just collecting dust in his garage. Gave it to me. It was just collecting dust here. And when I met Lewis from Dominant Strands, I'm like, hey man, give me a new string for this, because the string was shot, and he did, and I'm like, I guess I'll start shooting it, and it's been fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would add an element.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was pumped up when I shot that hog this year with it. So so that was fun. So I know. So you mule deer hunted and you elk hunted out west. Did you ever do any bear hunting out there?
No, not too much. No, I did antelope.
Oh yeah.
And deer and elk was mostly what I did. I always told myself I was going to try spring bear, and I just never. I did some turkey hunting out there.
Yep.
And that kind of took the place, I guess, of bear hunting. I never shot a turkey out there. I hunted with other people and called a few in.
Yep.
But I never shot a turkey out there. They're actually turkeys in Miles City now, where we go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how's that comparing to like hunting in Wisconsin for turkeys? How's that out west? Like I figured out west turkey hunting must be a different ball game to some extent.
So they're mostly Merriams out there, and where I hunted them was on the western side of the state, and they were very, very responsive to calls.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, at least in my experience, compared to my previous experience, which was Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania, they weren't nearly as responsive to calls as it seemed like. Easterns didn't. Now here, the Midwest, they seem like they are a lot more. But I hunt a lease where there's not a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I definitely think that has something to do with it.
Yep. I would agree.
And it was fairly new out there too. I mean, turkey hunting isn't, it's been around in Montana. I don't know exactly how long, but I know when I got there 2010, I lived there 2 years like previous to that, but so it was kind of coming on around 2000, early 2000s.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's not real. I mean, it's getting bigger. But when I was doing it, they were just very responsive, which made it a lot of fun. And when you hear them like in a mountain canyon, that's pretty awesome. When it echoes in the morning and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be cool. I've thought about. So I love bear hunting. I absolutely love it. But I haven't done. The only closest thing I've done to it in Colorado, I've always buy the bear tag, and I almost got a bear. The first year I went to Colorado, I had a bear at 10 yards or closer than 10 yards. But like I wasn't ready for it. It just snuck up on me, and then ended up getting the next day. Ended up getting a shot. And it was like 55 yards. And I ended up going through the back strap, didn't get anything vital, didn't find it. So I want to go out west sometime and try some spot and stalk in the spring. I think it'd be fun. So obviously you're back in Wisconsin. Been there now for a while. So I know you're chasing whitetails like the rest of us. How'd your season go last year?
Good. It seemed slow,
Mm-hmm.
and that was kind of the general consensus. I feel like,
Yep.
we had snow and cold right around Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was out on Halloween, somewhere around Halloween. I can't remember with my work schedule, but somewhere around Halloween I was out, and in the morning there was a layer of snow, just like
Yep.
half inch or whatever.
Yep.
And it was nice and cold, and I'm like, oh man, deer should be moving.
Yep.
Pre-rut, like this should be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember November 2nd, November 3rd, it just came and went, and it was like dead.
Yep.
I mean, just ghost. One morning I was walking out to go meet one of my friends, and there was a absolute booner right along our fence line.
That figures.
But it was early. It was like, whatever it was, first, second, third, it was just early for him to be locked on a doe.
Yep.
I felt like it was easily a week early.
Yep.
And he was a wall hanger for sure. So I text my friend, I'm like, dude, there's a monster, right? And I tell him where, and he's like, I'm going to try to stalk it. I'm like, do it. And he got to within, I'm guessing, we estimated about 25 yards.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And the doe got up, and they were just bedded in this high grass. And the doe got up and took off, and he took off right after her.
That would have been cool if we pulled that off. It's been really cool.
Watching it, and I thought, man, I really should be filming this.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I'm like trying to see the deer through the binoculars, and and I kind of told them where, I used some landmarks and stuff to tell them about where I last saw them. I didn't know if they bedded down or if they moved into the thick stuff, but yeah, he got right up on them and got real close. So then it just kind of we kept seeing them and seeing them and seeing them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a couple of years since I shot a buck because I was waiting for a big one, I'm trying to, and he's like, you know what, if you want him, take him. You get a shot at him, take him. He's not a bad deer, certainly not the biggest, but it's not really about that either. Correct. It was a fun running and chasing does around, and I mean, it was a fun hunt. Self-filming is hard.
I feel that. Yep.
When you're trying to get like the perfect shot, and then you're picking your shooting lanes, and he walks into a shooting lane, and then when I pull back, I'm like, do I have a good shot here? Is it even going to be on camera? I don't know, but this is my shot, so I'm taking it. So that's kind of what it was, and it was decent, but it could have been better. Every time I do it, I get a little better, but man, it adds an element to the hunt, a fun element.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm running, if I'm personally going out now, I'm running 3 cameras. And the only reason I'm running 3 cameras, you get some cool angles and stuff, but it's so I try not to screw it up, then I have the shot on camera. I usually have one like over my shoulder, so it's got me, and if the deer's that angle, it'll have the deer. And now I got my big camera, and then I even have a GoPro on top of it now. So hopefully, even if I'm too zoomed in on the big camera, hopefully the wide view on the GoPro still gets it. So, but I go a little crazy with it sometimes. So, but yeah, if now I like today, spoiler alert to people who haven't either checked us out on socials when this comes out, or seen the episode yet. That'll come out in a couple weeks. My buddy Kyle, team member Kyle, he killed a turkey today, his first ever turkey. Now like that, I was videotaping him. And I enjoy quite a bit filming others. It's a lot of fun. Definitely easier too than self-filming, which I know you've done some self-film turkey hunts. I remember that was like one of the very first videos I watched from you. I feel like turkeys are sometimes harder to self-film than deer because they pick up on movement so much quicker than deer will.
Yeah, I had my camera set up on that, and I tried to angle it to where the decoy was and the gobbler, and it just it worked.
Yeah.
That setup on
sometimes,
that day,
man. Yeah, sometimes it's better to be lucky than anything, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked. This year, I'm gonna try. I ordered broadheads. I
Yep.
ordered the broadheads.
Yep.
I went with the. I got the XDs. I think the
Yep.
XD is the expandable.
Yep, it is. Yep.
So I'm probably gonna get the large. I can't remember the name for the larger one.
The ones that are coming out.
The ones that are coming out.
HXP, maybe.
But I kind of couldn't wait, and I wanted to get them to be able to take them turkey hunting. So I'm gonna try it. I got like 3 weeks. I got to start shooting again here.
Dude, I hope you kill one with a bow, man. I have shot at so many turkeys with my bow during deer season. I can't kill one. I don't know why. Give me a gun, I can kill one.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot kill one with a bow. I got a buddy who's been helping me out with the recurve, and he was telling me about, oh, you should take the recurve turkey hunt, and I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, there ain't no way. But yeah, no, I hope you get one. I'm gonna try. Yeah.
I'll see how it goes. Like, you know what I'm seeing and how we're filming thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be tough.
Yep.
It's gonna be tough. I do have one of the mounts for my stabilizer, so I put a camera on that.
Gotcha. Like painted arrow. You got something else? Oop, I lost you for a second.
Yep. Yeah, you're back now.
Okay, gotcha. So you said yes to painted arrow?
Yeah.
Yep. I don't have one of those yet. Kyle's got one, and I guess now you got one. So I'd like to hear what you say because I've been thinking about getting one.
I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very heavy. You hardly know it's there. I leave it on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would too, probably. Mm-hmm.
I just leave it because I'm kind of finicky when it comes to shoot. I feel like if I don't have it on there, then and then I put it on and go hunt with it, it might be a little bit different.
Correct.
So
and you're putting your iPhone on there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my question. I'm nerding out here. Okay, I got one of the newer iPhones myself, and I got that charging port on it. That clips right on it. How do you have your your plate that comes with painted arrow? How's that work?
Use an older iPhone.
Okay.
It's actually one of my nephew's.
Oh, okay.
Recycled ones.
Okay.
They weren't. So I have that. I have used the one I'm on right now. So my phone is an iPhone. It's the 14 Pro.
Okay, so that is. Yep.
And so I use I have a mag view for my binocular, and that plate is like super strong. So if you order one of those, it comes with 3 magnetic plates. So I just use that, and it sticks there, and I haven't had an issue.
Oh, I'll have to keep that in mind. That's one of the reasons why I haven't bought a painted arrow thing yet, because I didn't know how I was going to like that. Okay.
Yeah, magnetic. It stays there. Haven't lost anything. Haven't had anything fall off. I've shot. I actually, so when I first got it, I put it on there. I shot with just the mount, and I had both my phones attached to it because I wanted to know what that was going to do. And that no issues.
Huh. So, all right, I'll keep that in mind. Well, I don't know if it's you, me, or both of us with our internet issue. So one thing I definitely want to cover before we end this podcast is, obviously you're a first responder, been a first responder longer than I have. Big thing, the main thing we're all about here at the TBLO Outdoors is to get other first responders into the outdoors, whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, whatever. So if you're just going to kind of talk about how you have found this outdoor lifestyle has helped you as a first responder yourself, and I'm sure your first responder family as well, and how this has helped you throughout the years.
For me, I've been I'll say fortunate, because it's made me into a better officer all the way around. But I've been through 6 critical incidents in 14 years, which for agencies that I've worked in, that's probably a lot. But just being out there, just away from everything, whether it's on a walk with my dogs and my wife, or being hunting. Like we spoke about the salmon thing. I don't know what I'm doing salmon hunting. Or salmon fishing, I mean.
Yep.
That's okay. I mean, just going out and having a good time, and not there's no there's no like extra vigilance when I'm in the woods. So even if we go to dinner, my back's looking out at everybody. I still watch everybody that comes in. I still look at their hands and their way. I mean, it's just so ingrained in me. And, so I'm still vigilant when I'm out in public, as I'm probably going to be forever.
Yep.
But when I'm out there, whether it's Montana, whether it's here, hikes with my dog and my wife, I'm not vigilant then. And that really, really brings me down, to a lot calmer level.
Yep.
And kind of helps me.
I lost you, John. You there?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Lost you for a second. All right. You finish your spiel. I didn't hear it all.
So, you were like paused.
Yep.
No, I was just saying, I mean, when I'm in a setting where I don't have to be vigilant, where I don't have to watch people, it's just like recentering for me. My wife and I can connect better. My dogs and I, we don't have any kids, but we can have fun and just be goofy and have a good time. When I'm in the woods, I can be, I can just have fun and just be me without having to watch people and look around, especially in today's atmosphere, the way things are now. But
yeah.
So for me, that's a big part of it. It's even more important than the kill. When I was younger, it was all about I got to get a harvest. I got to harvest deer, and now, when I'm in a stand and I have them underneath my stand or something, like that's the win for the day. I mean, that's just awesome.
Yep.
So that's kind of how it helps me. And I started. I have a couple friends at work that are starting to get into hunting. I went with them a couple of times. So we're starting to, hopefully, going to increase the frequency of being able to hunt with them. So
I had funny you bring that up. I have at the agency I work at. I've been there for 8 years now, and I'm starting to get more of my coworkers into the outdoors, hunting and fishing, which has been brought to my attention as a problem because now we're all competing for the same time off.
yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, I have seniority over majority of them.
Yeah.
So at least I'm like, sorry guys, like I'm taking this time. But I don't know. It's a good problem, I guess, to have. The chief might not always agree with me, but it's been fun though, and getting more coworkers out in the field and stuff. So again, guys, we're having connection issues. We're storming here, and it sounds like it's surrounded John too up there in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So that's why we keep cutting in and out. But real quick, before we go, shout out to, again, we work with a couple of close-knit companies, guys. We work with Mr. Rubb and Bootleg Products. Check them out. The link's in the bio. You can save yourself some percentage off there. We are also working our own seasoning with Mr. Rubb. That is almost finalized, so super excited about that. Definitely check it out, guys. We've been working with RackGetter Scents and Lures, based out of Pennsylvania. Former law enforcement and firefighter, Gerard. Great guy. Check his stuff out. I know it's a little early for deer season, but if you're bear hunting, he's got the best bear scents out in the market. I used them last year, love them. Taking them back up in Canada this year again, as well. Yeah. I forget. Yeah, so John was working with him too. It's funny how that works together. Great guy. Oh, yeah. So I need to have him on the podcast, kind of talk about his brand and stuff. But yeah, great guy. And then, so I'm trying to think. Dominant Strands, Lewis. He's based out of Rushville, Illinois. He will send strings to anywhere in the country. Check him out. He's really got some of the best bowstrings on the market, guys. Obviously, I rock the whole black and blue bowstrings, being the Thimble Outdoors, but he makes any color you want. Crossbows, recurves, compounds, you name it, he can make it. And then we got 2 newer sponsorships that we're working with. I'm excited. I've been already drinking one of them. I know John's excited. I'm sending him up some to try here soon. But we got Our Grounds Coffee Company. Been working with them. They sent us some. We did a taste test for them during the hunting grind segments this last year. We're going to have our own roast through him. I plan to launch that in August, guys. Check them out. Again, Al Grounds Coffee Company. I like their light roast, their color phase. That's my favorite, other than ours. That's coming out, which again we're tweaking the flavor profile right now. Hopefully that'll be out in August. I'm looking forward to hear what John thinks about it when I send it up to him. And then we just lined up. I don't know if I haven't announced it on the channel when this comes out, but we'll be announcing it here soon. Wreck Broadheads, as John mentioned throughout this podcast. Wreck Broadheads is an American-made broadhead company. They have fixed blades and expandables. All their broadheads are rated for crossbows. So if you're a crossbow hunter, you can shoot them. I know I'm super excited to try them out. I think the first animal I'm going to try it out is hopefully a bear. We got a couple guys going bear hunting. We'll all plan on using Wreck Broadhead, so super excited. Hopefully John gets a turkey down with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so, man. That would be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. Have you looked up what you need to aim at on a turkey? Because it's not exactly what you would think with your bow.
I have in the past, and I do need to refresh to make sure that my aim points are right. If I get the if I'm even able to draw back. We'll see.
Yep.
But yeah, I do need to refresh on that because you're right. It's not exactly what you would think.
Yeah,
so I definitely got to do some studying here.
Looking back, there were some shots I took at turkeys in high school, and looking back, now I didn't hit them, so it didn't matter. But looking back, I was definitely aiming at the wrong spot. So that's why I like a shotgun. Just shoot them in the face and call it good.
I try to be disciplined enough where like I call in a couple and it doesn't go right, and I try to draw back, doesn't happen, and these things are running all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to be disciplined enough to stick with the bow and not go to the shotgun. So we'll see how it goes once I'm in it, you know. I have pretty much my whole season off of work. I had some training to do, so I was able to kind of substitute some days.
There you go.
I'm hoping in those 4 or 5 days I can make it happen. I've never hunted turkeys in the evening either.
Yeah, you guys just opened that up, right?
So as long as I've been here, we've been able to. I just never have. In Pennsylvania, you never could.
Okay.
So I think it was done at 1 or 1:30. I think you had to be done for the day.
Illinois is 1 o'clock. Yep.
So I've never hunted them in the evening. I might try it. I don't. You know, I guess it's just kind of knowing where they're
roosted
and trying to set up on that. But
I know. Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Oh no,
okay. So I know at least during the fall, obviously I'm always hunting deer, but I know where these turkeys like to roost, and there's a spot that I know almost every afternoon I would see a turkey, and I could probably shoot them, but it's a terrible spot to try to bow hunt deer at.
Yeah.
And I keep telling myself, like, if I kill a couple deer, like, you know, I'm gonna go try to bow hunt a turkey during the fall, and I've never done it. So it would be fun. Like I said, I've never hunted turkeys in the afternoon. It'd be interesting to try.
I've never tried it. I did. I was hoping to get a video of my nephew. He had a crossbow, and I hunted with him over the youth season up north. They live in Stevens Point. Okay. And he let 3 jakes go. They were at like 15 yards.
He's better than me.
A few nice turkeys in the past, and he's like, I'm waiting for a tom. And my brother and I are like, you sure? Because he's like, no. I said, okay. So I mean, good for him.
Yeah.
He's 12. So good for him.
Yep.
Get a good time. So I have videos I'm going to send you. It's probably going to be more of a short.
Hey, fine with me.
You know, but it's pretty cool. The last, we decided we were going to go for breakfast. So it was like 9:30, 9, something like that. And we get to the truck and we hear a gobble across the road. And my brother was checking a trail camera, and for some reason was in his sneakers already. And my nephew had a Croc on one foot and his boot on the other. And I'm like, get your stuff, let's go. He's like, let's go. We go and we try setting up on these birds, and didn't happen. It was a tom. We did get eyes on it, but he was headed up and not. not interested.
Yeah, it's hard to call him away from the real thing.
Yeah, we played
Mhm.
around with him for probably 25 minutes. Well, probably a half hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just kind of went non-responsive. We didn't see them for a while, and I was like, "Well, I think the gig is up." But it's
Yep.
funny because I got video of him walking, and he's walking in these Crocs, and not a care in the world. He's like, "All right, let's go."
That's funny.
Yeah,
Now I'll give him credit, man. Setting standards like that. When it comes to turkeys, if it's legal, I'm gonna shoot it. I just
Yeah.
have no like trophy aspects when it comes to turkeys. Now with a deer, when I was younger, I killed some smaller bucks, but like I was pretty young when I told myself like, hey man, I'm not gonna shoot any more like fork horns and stuff. And for the most part, I haven't. One year, my first year, I think out of police academy. I had shot at a good buck that year, and I shot at a turkey and missed it as I was walking to my stand. And when the turkeys just kind of flew up and landed back down, so I knocked another arrow. I stepped behind this bush to shoot. Well, there's a turkey or there's a deer right there, a doe, standing like 30 yards. I'm like, well, why shoot a turkey when I can fill my freezer with a doe? So I just turned over, fired. Well, when I fired, I heard a grunt, not a bleat, and I'm like, uh-oh, like that didn't sound like a doe. I didn't see any antlers though. Anyway, walked up to it after it made a great shot, heart shot. Walked up to it. It was a little bitty spike. So I forget if Illinois, if the spike's got to be either 3 inches or 4 inches to count as a buck, and I was half an inch too big, whatever it was. Like, yeah. Yep. So yeah, I was I was bucked out that year. I was like, oh, okay, well, my buck tags are filled. But that was the first time I've done that. But anyway, guys, that was podcast 80. John, just stay on once I end the recording here for a second. But thanks again, John, coming on. Welcome to the team. Again, so we're excited to have you. I'm excited to go fishing with you. So this salmon fishing, I've done salmon fishing in the past, but I've never been to Lake Michigan to salmon fish. I would shout out the charter, but I don't remember it on top of my head. But we'll be having video from that, guys. It's going to be John, a Springfield officer, and then a couple other guys. Super excited. Redcoat and Jesse will be there. Again, it's super excited for it. Should be a good time. And yeah, we'll end this podcast. Everyone, thanks for listening, and be safe out there.